Okay, let's talk about workload overload. Alright, what we can define as workload overload is when time required to do something exceeds time available. Instead of time, you can also say mental resources required exceed mental resources available, because you might be able to multitask really well when your cognitive resources are in different sensory modalities. Alright, so what workload overload causes you to be selective about your input. You put more priority to the important information sources. But you might have decreased accuracy. You might have decreased calculation potential or willingness. And you might fixate on a single strategy, which makes sense because you're stressed. Now, for workload overload remediance, what you want to do is alternate. You can alternate between tasks, I guess, or you can delegate tasks between many things and also automate. And you can design for salient things so that the most important things are the most salient. Now, in order to study workload overload, you can make a study timeline. You can identify task times, which also include covert tasks. And when you're identifying that, what you can do with that information is schedule and prioritize what's most important. Task resource demand, which tasks can be automated, and cognitive resources available. You want to make the tasks delegated such that you can operate between two, cognitive resources in one worker, which is better. All right. For workload overload, you could train alternately, make people faster, or you can make them better at time management. And I think it's better to address the problem at the source. All right. And how do we measure time and mental resources? Well, we measure by primary task, which doesn't really measure the mental workload itself. It infers it, or it implies it. Or you can do secondary task, measuring the reserve capacity available. You can do physiological measures, but they are intrusive. Or you can do subjective report, which might not necessarily be the most accurate.